Who hit a little harder though? Was it Ryan or was it Rolly? Because they both clearly.
I ain't gonna lie, Rolly hit hard.
Yeah.
People be sleeping on Rolly because he been obviously, I don't know how to say it, obviously.
Gervonta Davis dropped a bombshell about who hits harder between Ryan Garcia and Rolly Romero, and his answer is turning heads.
He don't got no chin now, so Rolly be getting caught, but Rolly, he can hit, bro. Like, he can hit. When he's the only person I felt like when he swung, it felt like bricks was in hood.
Is that the hardest really like? Is that the hardest one you faced in your career? Is that the hardest one?
Who else I sparred that was like that was Danny Garcia.
Gervonta Tank Davis recently made waves in the boxing world when he confidently declared that Rolando Rolly Romero hits harder than Ryan Garcia, a statement that immediately grabbed attention. Tank, who has shared the ring with both fighters, was quick to single out Rolly as the more dangerous puncher, citing the devastating power behind Rolly's blows. Davis didn't mince words, saying that when Rolly swung, it felt like he was getting hit with brick. This bold assessment has sent fans and analysts into a frenzy, prompting a closer look at the upcoming showdown between Garcia and Rolly, which will take place on May 2nd at Times Square in New York.
You're not my type.
Tank Davis said recently that he actually hits harder than you. Do you believe that?
Maybe he does, yeah. He could
Maybe,
possibly.
no, for sure.
Well, even if he does, bro, it's all about, you know, landing that shot that they don't see. You know, setting them up for a shot that they don't see. So, you know, that's what power is about.
Shots on you that you didn't see.
Again, 8 years ago, he's talking about. But
you're more experienced than me.
You hadn't found nobody even come close to that level to get to where you were to fight Tank.
The fight, aptly named Fatal Fury, Times Square, is a highly anticipated clash between two fighters eager to prove themselves in the welterweight division. For Garcia, it's an important comeback after a turbulent period. His last bout was a controversial no contest against Devin Haney in April 2024, after Garcia tested positive for a banned substance, Ostarine, during fight week. The original majority decision victory was overturned, and Garcia was handed a 12-month suspension along with a hefty fine. The fighter, once known for his impressive knockout power and brash persona, has spent the past year working on his discipline outside the ring, distancing himself from alcohol, drugs, and other distractions. He's promised that this version of Garcia will be focused and ready for the challenge Rolly presents.
I feel like your chin is weak. I feel like there's no way in 12 rounds I don't catch you with a good shot.
You quit with punchers, bro. You quit with Tank?
I didn't quit, bro.
You look like with Devin.
And I beat both of them.
You look
so
like
if I look like but you got knocked out looking for Easter eggs with Isaac Cruz, talking about Happy Resurrection Day, bro. You didn't even know where you were at, bro, after the fight.
Yeah,
he beat you that bad. You were looking for Easter eggs in the ring, though. You was out there everywhere, bro. You weren't there, bro. So if you say I look like I won, though.
You look like
I won, though.
But how did you win?
I won, though.
How did you win?
I knocked out Duarte.
It's not on your record?
I knocked out Duarte.
It's not on your record?
I knocked out Duarte.
Him
being a bitch and suing and trying to go for the and trying to overturn.
But you ain't even a professional. You know how bad I had to kill myself to fight Pitbull and this last dude?
Well, like I said, you got knocked out at the end of the day.
You think Rolly can beat Ryan? Can? Yeah, of course. Everybody got a punch a chance. I just think that Ryan Garcia right now seems to be focused and solid. Who's the puncher in that fight? Ryan, believe it or not. And I saw both of them in the same room, staring each other down. Ryan is so much bigger than Rolly. Let me give you some insight. When Rolly left, Ryan was still there. And I heard him say to his father, I think, he said, he's not big anymore, right? Like, I'm bigger than him. And they said, yeah, you are. It was obvious Ryan was bigger. But he looked and was like, because it's almost like he hasn't sized himself up against him since they were kids sparring, where Rolly was bigger than him then. So when they stood up against each other, Ryan was like, wait, he doesn't seem that big. And they were like, no, you're bigger than him. Ryan was obviously bigger.
On the other hand, Rolly is also trying to rebound from setbacks in his career. The former WBA super lightweight champion has suffered 2 defeats in his last 4 fights, with losses to Gervonta Davis and Isaac Pitbull Cruz. Despite these losses, Rolly remains a dangerous and unpredictable fighter, known for his unorthodox style and explosive power. He is determined to put on a show against Garcia and believes that his aggressive approach and sheer willpower will be enough to secure victory.
He's definitely went downhill since he got knocked out. I feel like his chin hasn't recovered. And that's just the honest truth. You know, I don't think Pitbull hit him that hard, but he's not handling punches well. That's just the bitter truth of the sport. Sometimes you get knocked out, your chin gets weak. I feel like your chin is weak. I feel like there's no way in 12 rounds I don't catch you with a good shot.
The upcoming fight has already sparked a war of words between the two. During an interview leading up to the bout, both fighters took jabs at each other's recent performances, with Garcia taunting Raleigh about his lackluster outing against Isaac Cruz. Garcia sarcastically brought up Raleigh's defeat, mocking the fact that Raleigh had been left dazed and confused after the fight. Raleigh fired back by defending his resume, claiming that he had fought punchers throughout his career, including the powerful Ismael Barroso. However, Garcia wasn't impressed, calling out Raleigh for his struggles in that fight and mocking him for nearly losing to an old man in Barroso. The exchange only added fuel to the fire as the bad blood between the two continues to build.
I fought
right?
punchers, bro.
Who?
I fought a bunch
Who?
of Barroso was a crazy
Who?
puncher. Barroso, he was a crazy.
The one
puncher.
that was on his way to beat you? The old man? The grandpa?
No way, it was a hard fight. So what? Luke Campbell dropped your ass.
And I got up and knocked him out.
And I you stopped the dude.
You didn't stop him. That was controversy.
The controversy. So he was not about to get knocked out.
No, he wasn't,
He
bro.
wasn't.
He was dodging all the punches. That's
He
the
wasn't
truth.
dodging it.
Yes, he
He
was.
wasn't, bro.
He wasn't?
No.
Go
dude,
watch the
he-
replay. I'll bring it up right now. He was
Bring it
dodging
up.
punches.
Bring it up. Do it.
Everybody knows it was a f***ed up call. Everybody knows that. You were losing to him. You got dropped, but maybe he does hit hard.
We play hard.
In the lead up to the fight, Raleigh has made his intentions clear. He plans to knock out Garcia, leaving him flat-lined on the canvas. He's not shy about his confidence, claiming that Garcia's weakness is his vulnerability to powerful punches. Raleigh even joked that he wouldn't hit Garcia too hard to avoid ruining his pretty face and jeopardizing his modeling career. Despite the playful banter, Raleigh's message is clear. He's coming to win, and he believes that Garcia will not be able to handle his power.
A rematch to happen between Ryan and Devin sometime in the
I
fall.
hope he beats Devin again.
But he'd have to beat you first to
No,
get there.
no. He can still fight Ryan after me. I mean Devin after me.
Okay.
Ryan can still fight Devin after me. I don't give a That had nothing to do. That has nothing to do with me.
Yeah.
Well, I think if you beat him, they'd probably do another fight with you guys.
Yeah, down the line, maybe another one. But like I said, that has nothing to do with me. They mad, they could no, do the same they did again. They could do it 3, 4, 5 times in a row. But I'll be happy as to watch them knock out Devin 4 or 5 times in a row. I know you better than you know you at this point. I know everything about you, and you know that.
Why would I know? How?
I know
Makes no
everything
sense.
about you.
Do you?
I truly do.
That sounds like you're in love with me. Are you in love with me?
On May 2nd, live on DAZN Worldwide and in the heart of New York City, two of the biggest punchers in boxing will square off in a 147-pound fight when Ryan Garcia takes on former 140-pound champion Rolly Romero. That will happen on May 2nd. Today, they face off. Ryan, been a year since we've seen you back in New York. How does it feel to be back here?
It feels good. It's kind of like a bittersweet moment because all of the stuff that transpired after. But at the end of the day, I'm just excited to be back in the ring. Rolly's is a pretty good fighter. And I think that, this has been a long time coming. And, it could set me up really well for the rematch with Haney. But first, I got to, focus on Rolly. So here we are. I'm excited to be back in the ring.
On the other hand, Garcia remains focused on proving that he's ready to move past the controversies that have plagued his career. He's been working hard in the gym, cutting out distractions, and making sure he's physically and mentally prepared for this challenge. Garcia himself has expressed that he's excited about the opportunity to finally settle the score with Raleigh, especially after their infamous sparring session years ago, which Raleigh constantly brings up as evidence of his dominance. For Garcia, this fight is about redemption, not just for his career, but also to silence the critics who have questioned his dedication and resilience.
Got the most eyes on you, the most to prove. What's your prediction? What's going to happen May 2nd?
I put Rollies to sleep with a left hook. That's it. That's what you're going to see. Period.
Don't try too much. Rolly's going to give you everything you want. So kind of just going to let the fight come to me, and then I'm going to take over. I'm a better fighter.
all around, so I feel like it's going to show in the fight. He hasn't really made that many adjustments, to be honest. Still making a lot of the same mistakes, still kind of fighting the same. His chin actually looks like it's gotten a lot weaker.
While the trash talk has dominated the media, it's clear that both fighters recognize the importance of this bout. For Garcia, a win would reaffirm his place among the top fighters in the division and set him up for a potential rematch with Devin Haney, should Haney defeat Jose Ramirez on the same night. Garcia's goal is simple: win and continue to climb the ranks, with a future showdown against Haney looking more likely. Haney himself has his eyes set on Garcia, acknowledging that a rematch is inevitable if both men come through their respective fights unscathed.
Ryan Garcia versus Devin Haney. What I want to say about when I saw it, again, for the second time, I still feel the same. I think Devin Haney fought a good fight. People are like, oh, he started fighting too much and not boxing. That is not true. Devin was boxing. It's just that his flaws were exploited so crazy. 2, that was a shitty Ryan Garcia. The third thing I want to say, Devin couldn't deal with Ryan Garcia's hand speed. When Ryan Garcia threw a combination, Devin put the block up and tried to lean back and try to be defensive and got dropped every time Ryan opened up. So I'm thinking a more healthy and focused Ryan Garcia really makes it look crazy. If Devin beats Ryan in the rematch, that says so much about Devin's ability to adapt and how much of a great fighter he's going to be.
Despite the drama surrounding Garcia's suspension and the subsequent fallout, his supporters remain confident that he has learned from his mistakes. His return to the ring after such a long layoff is a critical moment in his career. Many fans are eager to see whether the real Ryan Garcia will show up, or if the distractions of the past year will have a lingering effect on his performance. His opponent, Raleigh, is no stranger to controversy himself. Known for his loud personality and brash remarks, Raleigh has made no secret of his belief that Garcia is vulnerable, and he plans to exploit that on fight night.
How confident are you that you can beat Ryan?
Oh, I mean, sure, I'm the most confident fighter in the damn world. I'm gonna always,
What's it take to beat him?
gotta crack him just, right there.
Looking at the broader picture, many in the boxing world are still skeptical of Raleigh's chances. Tim Bradley expressed his doubts about Raleigh's ability to pull off the upset. Bradley pointed out that Raleigh has not been the same since his knockout loss to Gervonta Davis, suggesting that the psychological damage from that defeat may have affected his confidence and fighting style. Bradley further noted that Raleigh's performances in recent fights have lacked the same fire that made him a fan favorite early in his career. While Raleigh's power is undeniable, Bradley believes that he may be damaged goods, and unless he can rediscover the form that made him a threat, Garcia will likely take the victory. Bradley said, "That would be shocking as hell if Raleigh pulled off the upset, but I think Raleigh is damaged goods. If you look at his last couple of fights, he hasn't been the same. He hasn't been the same since he got knocked out by Gervonta Davis. He hasn't been the same. Sometimes one fight can ruin your entire career. He's not the same mentally, he's not the same physically." On the other hand, fighters like Teofimo Lopez, who will also be fighting on the same card, predict that Garcia will win, but in a late stoppage. Lopez believes that Garcia's superior speed and technical ability will overwhelm Raleigh, who may not be able to keep up with Garcia's precision and explosiveness for the full 12 rounds. Lopez's prediction echoes the general consensus among analysts who view Garcia as the more well-rounded fighter, capable of dealing with Raleigh's power if he stays disciplined and focused.
I think right now they're probably going to announce a lot of fights to be finalized. That's my opinion on that. However, I think that it's a great matchup. I think it's a good storyline for Rolly as well. And I think they're going to fight at 47.
Yeah. Rolly's a big dude. Obviously, he has that power. Ryan has that right hook.
Yep.
So, who do you got?
I got Ryan. I got Ryan Garcia.
Why?
Yeah. I just think that from that fight and since then, he hasn't been fighting for that long of a period, and then being stopped the way he was. I think he might be changing trainers, or he might still be with Salas, but even then, but I think it's gonna be a great matchup. I think Ryan needs to be careful with Rolly's punching power, because Rolly still got power, man, and definitely could could do something to Ryan with those shots.
As for Devin Haney, he's also preparing for a critical fight against Jose Ramirez on the same night. Haney's goal is to secure a rematch with Garcia, and he has publicly acknowledged the mistakes he made in their first encounter. After a year of reflection and training, Haney claims that he's a changed man, ready to redeem himself in the ring. A victory over Ramirez would not only keep Haney's career on track, but also set up the highly anticipated rematch with Garcia, a fight that many fans are eagerly awaiting. However, if Haney loses to Ramirez, the chances of a Garcia-Haney rematch would be dashed, and both men would have to reassess their paths.
Another thing that I was extremely interested in when Ryan Garcia and Devin Haney was announced, if you can match his height and reach him, I was very interested to see how his defense works when you can reach him. Linares could reach him, but Linares was getting long in the tooth because he couldn't start strong. It was like he's like a Buick. He started to get warmed up when you touch him, and then towards the end of the fight, Linares was getting bit. But the point is, Jose Ramirez is 5'10", he's a big kid, and now he's fighting with something else. The blueprint, the know-how. We saw him rock, and we saw him drop.
In a twist of fate, former world champion George Groves has voiced his disdain for Ryan Garcia, calling him an ignorant poser and expressing his hope that Raleigh knocks him out. Groves, who has never been shy about sharing his opinions, criticized Garcia for his previous doping incident and his off-ring behavior. Groves claimed that Garcia's popularity was built more on his social media presence than his skills in the ring, suggesting that the fighter's pretty face and Instagram following have made him a polarizing figure in the sport. Groves admitted that while Garcia has talent, he is still not convinced by his character and believes he deserves a defeat. He said, "Garcia's a bit of a poser, and he's a cheat, so I have no time for him. Sure, he's got a load of followers on Instagram, and he is a handsome lad, but he's ignorant. He says stupid things, and he gets caught doping, and he's okay with that, but that's not okay with me. So I'd like to see him get beaten. Haney is an exceptional fighter. At times, he doesn't quite pull it off, and sometimes you are just battling a popularity contest. And for some reason, Garcia at times wins it. As the fight night approaches, the boxing world is divided. Some believe that Garcia's return will be a statement of intent, a chance for him to prove that he is back and better than ever. Others are more skeptical, questioning whether Raleigh's unpredictability and raw power will be enough to overcome Garcia's skills. Trainer Robert Garcia expressed strong support for Ryan Garcia, emphasizing the fighter's exceptional hand speed and trademark left hook as decisive tools that could shape the outcome. While he respected Romero's durability and willingness to stay in the fight, Robert Garcia predicted that Garcia's precision and power, particularly his left hook, would ultimately be too much for Romero to withstand.
I think Ryan.
Why?
Yeah, he's just fast and has a tremendous left hook. So I think it's a competitive fight, and I think Rolly is game enough to put up a good fight and go till the end. But I think eventually Ryan lands that left hook and probably hurts him.
Meanwhile, Raleigh's team has remained unwavering in its belief that their fighter is fully prepared. His coach, known as Bullet, described Romero as being in peak physical and mental condition, referencing an aggressive, relentless mindset they refer to as dog mode. Bullet believes that by applying constant pressure from the very start, Romero has the potential to disrupt Garcia's rhythm and possibly force a stoppage.
Who you got?
You know I got Rolly. Rolly in shape. Rolly in dog mode again. We're already in his head for years back, so Rolly knows how to beat him. And like I say, if he goes in shape and bring back the Johnny Taco, the centering boxing Rolly, that dog Rolly can stop anybody.
Wait, you say we, so no hard feelings on that. You're rooting for the man then.
I've always rooted for him. I'm never not rooted for him.
Eddie Hearn offered a more measured take, acknowledging Romero's entertainment value and flair, which he sees as a positive for the sport. Still, Hearn made it clear that he sees Garcia as the superior boxer, predicting a dominant and relatively uncomplicated win for him.
You know, that younger generation. Ryan Garcia, huge name. Devin Haney, huge name. Teofimo Lopez, huge name. And do you know what? What I like about it as well, they're all in real fights. You know, I love Rolly. I think he's a great character, but I think Ryan will deal with him well.
George Kambosos also shared his thoughts, calling the matchup an exciting one, but raising questions about Romero's technical depth. Though he noted Romero's impressive physical shape leading into the fight, Kambosos expressed skepticism about whether that alone would be enough to truly challenge Garcia. He predicted a knockout victory for Garcia, citing his power as a likely game changer. However, Kambosos did leave room for the possibility that Romero could surprise observers if he has made significant strides in his skill set since previous performances. Even so, his confidence leaned clearly toward Garcia securing the win.
Garcia, Rolly, as much as I've had my shit back and forth with Ryan, it'll be an interesting fight. Not style-wise, I think Ryan will probably knock him out. I think the lead-up is going to be fun. Rolly's, you know, he loves to talk. He's not very smart. His IQ's not very smart, so I think it's going to be a funny lead-up. And we'll see in the fight, but again, they got history sparring, that always brings confidence. You see the sparring, Rolly looked good in the sparring sessions that they put out there. You don't know, they might have an edge on him somewhere, so we'll see.
With everything on the line, both fighters will enter the ring with something to prove. For Garcia, it's about redemption and solidifying his place in the welterweight division. For Rolly, it's about silencing the critics and showing that he's still a force to be reckoned with. As fight night draws near, all eyes will be on the iconic Times Square venue, where these two fighters will battle it out for supremacy, with the world watching closely. So what are your thoughts about this? Do let us know in the comment section below. If you enjoyed this video, make sure to subscribe and check out some of our other videos on the screen right now.